Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of your economics unit. We're going to get started with some vocabulary, and these two words we've actually already heard them this year, but in a different way. Producers and consumers. Now we know producers are we can uh, identify plants as producers because they produce their own food and energy. We learned that during the food chain. And consumers are things that eat other things for energy. But these two words actually can mean something else too, and we're about to find out. So if I didn't mention in the day one, your notebook packet, what I mean by that is the packet that has all of the Google slides, just like I'm showing you for the vocabulary. So what I want you to do is go ahead and go to the page. I believe it is page 3, and we're going to get to the bottom of this vocabulary right here. All right, so let's start off with the first word, producers. Producers are people who use resources to make goods and or provide services. So producers are the ones who use the resources. Consumers is a person who purchases goods or service. So the producer is the one who makes it, the consumer is the one who uses it. So we can kind of relate this back to the plants being the producers, the thing that makes it, and the consumers being the thing that uses it. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to read each of these sentences and determine if the person is a producer or a consumer. Remember, a producer is the person who uses resources to make goods or services, and a consumer is someone who purchases or uses that good or service. Take your time, read through them, go ahead and write the word producer or consumer on the line and click pause, and I will come back and we'll go over the answers. All right, so we're at the bottom of page 3, and we are going to find out if Chris is a producer or consumer. He buys a jacket before winter comes. So if he buys it, he purchases a good or a service, which makes him a consumer. Mr. Rivera owns a company that builds new houses. So since he uses resources like trees and lumber to make goods or houses, he's a producer. Mrs. Chen goes to the store to get a cake for Maria's birthday party. If she has to buy the cake, she's a consumer. Alfonso is a barber who cuts and styles people's hair. So he provides a service, which makes him a producer. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our vocabulary, and we're going to find out what these resources are. There's actually 3 different types. The first one is a natural resource, and you can fill this in as I read it. A natural resource is something that a producer uses that comes directly from nature. These are things like trees and soil and things that come from the earth. A human resource is a person that is used to produce a good or a service. So basically, anyone who does anything, anyone who has a job is a human resource. And the last one is capital resource. And those are goods like tools, materials, and buildings that are made by people and used to make other goods and services. So think about all the tools you need to make something. That would be a capital resource. Or the place that you make that good, or the place that you provide that service. That is called a capital resource. What I want you to do after that is you can click pause. I'm going to be reading some of our textbook about these different types of resources. So sit tight and I will get our textbook up for you and you can just listen as I read to you. Okay, here's the page I wanted you guys to check out with me. So we've got all 3 different types of resources. We'll start with natural resources. We've got 3 examples here: wood, coal, and water and soil. Wood is used to build houses, produce paper, make cardboard boxes, and more. Coal is used to warm homes, heat metals for metal work, cook food, and more. And then water and soil, well, water keeps us alive, and both water and soil are used to grow crops and more. So these are natural resources, things that come directly from nature. Human resources are people making things or people helping people, and those are services. So, for example, people making goods are factory workers, potters, construction workers, textile workers, artists, and more. This guy looks like he's making some pottery. And people helping people are services: teachers, doctors, nurses, lawyers, barbers, miners, musicians, waiters, policemen, and more. So people who aren't necessarily making things, but they're doing things that help people. It looks like this is an old picture of maybe a doctor helping a sick man. And capital resources, tools and machines. So we've got machines, things that can do the work: bulldozers, weaving looms, computers. Tools are things like hammers, nails, rakes, and other things. And then buildings, where the service is actually taking place: stores, factories, hospitals, and more. All right, so we just read a page from our textbook, and what I want to do now is I want us to go to page 5 of our digital notebook. And what we're going to do is we are going to read the riddles, and you're going to guess what human resource is being described. So remember, human resources are the people who are doing the work. All right, I'm going to read these riddles to you. So the first one, we have: I wake up very early in the morning to do my job. I live in the country, not the city. I use the soil a lot. I see a lot of animals, and I use my tractor. Who do you think that might be? All right, riddle number 2. I had to go to school for many years before I could do my job. I work with nurses. I ask people to say, ah, and I spend a lot of time in a hospital. Who might that be? And the last one. This one's pretty tricky. I get dirty doing my job. I have to wear a hard hat. Most of the time, I am underground. I take things out of the soil. So make your guesses, read them again or listen again if you need to, and we're going to go on and finish up our day 2. Okay, so the last section you have is section 5. Day 2 is a lot of work, I know. Maybe you split it up. Section 5 is practice. So what you're going to do is, number 1, on page 6 of your notebook packet, you're going to identify each resource and label them as human, natural, or capital. And I'll show you the answers here in just a second. And the second thing is you have another practice page, and that's called producers and consumers. And what that is right here. And you can read the directions for yourself, but I'll read them to you. You're going to think about what a producer is, and you're going to draw a picture of the producer. And then on the lines, you're going to describe what your producer is, or who your producer is, and why they're a producer, maybe what they're doing. And then you're going to do the same with a consumer. Okay? Be creative. Post your pictures to me if you want on Facebook, or send them to me. I'd love to see them. So go ahead and click pause. Do page 6 in your notebook packet and work on your pictures. And whenever you're ready for the answers for your notebook packet, go ahead and click play, and we will go over those. All right, I'm going to do these quickly. So we've got different types of resources. A painter, that is a human resource. A truck, capital resource. A lake, natural. Computer, capital. Soil, natural. Library, capital, because it's a place. Teacher is a human resource. Wind, natural. Hammer, capital. Mechanic is a human. Cashier is a human. And trees are natural. I know that was fast. Hopefully you checked your answers and understood why, if you got any incorrect, why they were incorrect, and hopefully you understand why they are the way they are. So that was day 2. I know it was a lot. Great work. Come on back whenever you're ready for day 3. Bye.